Happy Tuesday. I hope everybody is doing well. And this is actually our last real lesson for distance learning, which is surface area of a rectangular prism. So I'm sure you are all really sad that this is the last thing you're learning in Math 7 this year. But if you feel sad about that, you can always go back and watch all these recordings now that they're all recorded. So don't worry. All right. So we are looking at surface area now of a solid. So surface area is basically taking all of the outside surfaces of a figure and adding them up. Okay. So it's the sum of the area of the faces of a figure. Okay. So there's basically two ways that you can look at doing this. We can look at the net. Okay, or we can use a formula, and we're going to talk about what that means here. Okay, so first of all, a prism, this is what we're looking at, is just a three-dimensional figure with rectangular lateral faces. So if you notice, like all of the outside shapes are rectangles. Okay, so the length of the prism is just the distance from left to right of the prism. The height is the distance between the top and the bottom. And the width is just the distance between the front and the back of the prism. Okay, so again, surface area, it would almost be like if you were to take wrapping paper and wrap up this rectangular prism. Okay, that would be the surface area. So we had been looking at volume, which is what fits inside of a figure. Surface area, again, is the area on the outside of a figure. So it says here we can use the net. The net is basically if I take a three-dimensional figure and I like unfold it to make it a flat two-dimensional figure. So for example, let's say I kind of start from this rectangular face in the back here. So like if this is my rectangular face here, this 12 by, I would know this is 3 because this is 3. So this is 12 by 3. And then if I were to just kind of unfold the rest of the figure, so like if I took this side and unfolded it, okay, and that would also be 12 by 4, okay, and then I took the front and kept unfolding it, so now here's the front, which is also a 12 by 3, and then I took the back side over here, right, I'm just gonna put it on this side for room, okay, but that would also be 12 by 4, right? So I have these, basically these two 12 by 4 rectangles. I have the front and the back here, which were the 12 by 3. Okay, and then I also would have the top, right? So like this here on the top. So you could unfold that from here. And this would be 3, because this is 3, right? So this would be 3 by 4, because this is 4. So this would be 3 by 4. I would also have the one on the bottom here, which again is 3 by 4. Okay, so this is one way that you could do this, is kind of to make it two-dimensional. And then I could go through and do all of the areas of each part. So for example, this would be 3 by 4. So the area of that rectangle is 12. Okay, it would be the same thing on the bottom, right? Because these are the same. So another 3 by 4, which again would give me 12. And then I would have this outside rectangle, this 12 by 4, which would give me 48. And I would have another 12 by 4 over here, which would give me another 48. And then the last thing I would have is this 12 by 3, which would give me 36. And another 12 by 3, which would give me 36. Okay, so again, I unfolded the whole shape. I have the 6 flat two-dimensional faces that you're then finding the area of. And then you would go through and add those all up. Okay, so everything I have highlighted here. So the 12 plus the 12 plus the 48 plus the 48 plus the 36 plus the 36. Okay, so if I go through and add that up, so 12 plus 12, so 24 plus 48 plus 48 plus 36 plus 36. That gives me 192 centimeters squared for my surface area. All right, but that was kind of a pain to kind of go through, draw that picture, figure out all the areas separately. So there's also a formula here that we can use, which you might, want to do more of. So like we said in this picture up here, this is our length, our width, and our height. Okay, and our formula is basically 2 times the length times the width plus 2 times the length times the height plus 2 times the width times the height. So that makes sense because we basically doubled all of these, right? So they all had 2 sides that were exactly the same. So we're just going to be making sure that we're multiplying the length times the width, length times the height, width times the height. So we're doing every combination of, the different side lengths multiplied by each other, and then we're just doubling them. And that will give us the same thing as the net. All right, so in this example, if I plug it into my formula, the most important thing is that you label these so when you're plugging them in, you don't end up plugging it in more times than you need to. Okay, so now I'm going to do 2 times, I labeled 3 as the length and the width as 4, plus 2 times the length of 3 again, times the height of 12, plus 2 times the width of 4, times the height of 12. And I'm going to go through 2 times 3 is 6, 6 times 4 is 24. Okay, plus 2 times 3 is 6, and then 12 times 6 gives me 72. And 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 12 gives me 96. So I'm going to add all those up, and I still get the 192 centimeters squared. Okay, so same answer here, but I think, again, a lot less work for you if you use the formula. So a couple things about the formula. Again, like you could have this rearranged, like it could say 2 times length times height plus 2 times width times height plus 2 times length times width. So these could be in a different order, again, as long as you have all these combinations. So the length times the width, length times the height, width times the height. And then again, it's important that you label each side, because if I said, okay, well, my length is 12 and my height is 3, it's still going to work out as long as you're plugging them in correctly. So it's really important to kind of label these. Okay, so we're going to try to do these using our formula because it's a little bit easier. So first thing you're always going to do is write out the formula. Okay, and the second thing that you're always going to do is you're going to label. I'm going to say, okay, 12 is my length, 9 is my width, and 2 is my height. And again, if you switch that and made it different things, as long as you plug them into this formula, you're going to get the same answer, which is why you want to write the formula out and label everything. So then you're just going to go through and plug it in for what you labeled it as. Okay, so if I go through here, 2 times 12, so 24 times 9 gives me 216, plus 24 times 2 would give me 48, plus 2 times 9 is 18, times 2 would give me 36. So 216 plus 48 plus 36 gives me 300 feet squared for my surface area. Okay, so same thing here for number 2. Okay, I'm going to label my length, my width, and my height. And I'm going to write down my formula. And I'm just going to go through and plug it all in. So 2 times 4 times 4.5 plus 2 times 4 times 2.5 plus 2 times 4.5 times 2.5. Okay, so if I go through and multiply all these, so 2 times 4 is 8, 8 times 4.5 is 36. Plus 2 times 4 again is 8, times 2.5 is 20. Plus 4.5 times 2 is 9. And then times 2.5 gives us 22.5. So if you add those all together, you should get 78.5 centimeters squared. All right, so this last one, what is the minimum amount of wrapping paper needed to completely cover the gift box shown below? So again, they want to cover it, so we know that we're talking about surface area. Okay, so we're going to write out our formula. We're going to label the length and the width and the height, and then all we need to do is plug it in. So 2 times 18 times 10 plus 2 times 18 times 9 plus 2 times 10 times 9. Okay, so 2 times 18 times 10 would give me 360, plus 2 times 18 times 9 would give me 324, plus 2 times 10 is 20, and then times 9 would give me 180. And you're going to add those together to get 864 inches squared, which is D. Okay, so basically for surface area, you just need to make sure you know that formula and that you can plug it in correctly. So again, the two big things are writing out the formula and labeling on your diagram what you're going to be plugging in. Okay, so make sure you star anything you have questions on, and then in our live session, we can go over anything that you're not sure about.